Welcome to part 2 of Let's Play Phantoms of Fear by Robin Waterfield. At the end of the last part, I was about to read paragraph 380. Here we go. When you are fully awake, you know what you must do. Somewhere in the forest is an area of foul blight, which marks the entrance to Istra's underground stronghold. You must find it, enter the pit, seek out Istra and do battle with him. This will be an immense task, a quest about which, whether you succeed or fail, the wood elves will sing as long as they have voices to sing. It is a particularly daring undertaking for a wood elf, for your kind do not normally stray more than half a day's journey from home. You call a council of the tribal elders and explain your task. They protest that the mission is impossible, but you do not allow such doubts to enter your mind. You tell them that you must go, and you make arrangements for the protection of the tribe during your absence. After embracing your closest friends, and many seem to be such friends under these circumstances, you prepare to leave. All you need is your sword, telesa, and a backpack. You do not take any provisions because as a wood elf you are confident of finding enough to eat as long as you are in the forest. Blimey, that's pretty risky. Which way should you go? Lake Necros lies not far to the east, so you must choose between heading roughly north, turn to 88, south, turn to 398, or west, turn to 344. Okay, we're going to head west and turn to 344. You set off west through the familiar forest. The sun strikes shafts of light through the trees, birds sing in the branches and small animals rustle the undergrowth. But the burden of your quest lies heavy on you, and you cannot take your usual pleasure in such things. There are few true paths this deep in the forest, but there are plenty of signs to show a wood elf which way is which, and you maintain a generally westward direction. After half a day's travel, you smell wood smoke and hear the rumble of indistinct voices, humans most probably, to judge by the timbre of the voices. They are a little way off to your left. Will you seek their company, turn to 387, or press on with your journey, turn to 298? Okay, we're going to seek their company and turn to 387. You soon see that you are approaching a clearing, and you notice a thin trickle of grey smoke rising straight up into the windless sky. You can hear the voices more clearly now. They are definitely human, and they sound worried. Will you step through the trees into the clearing, turn to 59, or call out first, turn to 294? Okay, we're going to step through the trees into the clearing and turn to 59. You step out into the open. You step out into the open. I'll start again. You step out into the open. The sun glints off your sword, Telesa, and you seem to the 6 frightened travellers who are staring at you to have appeared from thin air. This is the stuff that of which legends are made. Add 1 PowerPoint. Okay, that's 16 PowerPoints then. The awestruck travellers invite you to share their meal, but since they are eating venison, you decline. Wood elves do not eat meat. It turns out that the travellers have been on the road for many months, and have come from a city called Calagar, far in the west. They are trying to get to Arion, and to catch a boat from there to some remote island to escape the doom which the Calagarian prophet Vanator has foretold for the world. You grimly acknowledge to yourself that the prophet may not be far wrong if Istra has his demonic way. Will you in response tell the travellers something of your mission, turn to 209, or not, turn to 236? Okay, we're going to tell the travellers something of our mission, and turn to 209. You say that your journey too is not unrelated to their prophets' visions, but that you must travel west, not east. They tell you to watch out during your travels for traps which they have set during theirs to keep them supplied with meat. They did not make all their traps safe before leaving an area because there were some that they could not find again in the dense forest. They tell you that they marked their traps by bending a sapling over and tying it to the ground. The trap is always to the north of the sapling. You thank them, wish them luck, and continue on your way. Turn to 298. Okay, 298, here we come. I better just note down that traps are always to the north of saplings. Traps are always to the north of saplings. There we go. Okay, excuse me, 298. The further west you travel, the more you are struck by the peculiar behavior of the animals. Normally timid creatures snarl at you from the bushes. Birds twitter in fright from the topmost branches. It is also clear that the woodland creatures have been harvesting food. It is not the usual season for this, and you realize that all this strange behavior is due to their instinctive awareness of Istra's imminent invasion. There are two consequences of this. In the first place, it makes you confident that you are heading in the right direction. Secondly, however, you begin to regret not bringing any provisions from home, since it is likely that the closer you get to Istra's pit, the more the forest animals will have gathered or eaten the available food. You always knew that you would need to carry food when you were underground, but it now seems sensible to gather provisions for your whole journey, both overground and underground. The next stage of your westward journey will be found by turning to 376. Before you turn there, however, remember that paragraph number and turn to 50. Okay, so 376. Okay, so we're turning to 50. As you search for provisions, you may well have to fight some forest creature, either because you try to deprive it of some food or simply because it is aggressive. Roll one die to find out what creature, if any, you fight. 1, no encounter. 2, wolf, skill 7, stamina 6. 3, moose, skill 6, stamina 12. 4, bear, skill 7, stamina 14. 5, forest giant, skill 9, stamina 9. 6, no encounter. If you do not have to fight any opponent, or when you have one, roll 2 dice. This is the total of meals worth of provisions you are able to find. Enter this total in the provisions remaining box of your adventure sheet, and then turn to the paragraph whose number you were instructed to remember. Okay, so let's roll 1 die and find out what we have to fight. Okay, so we've got a 2. Which, yeah, that's a 2, sorry. So we're fighting a wolf, skill 7, stamina 6. So wolf, skill 7, stamina 6. So wolf, 7 and 6. Right, my skill is 11 and my stamina is 23. So let's do this fighting. Okay, so 7 plus 3 is 10. I get 17. So 10 to 17. Okay, that's him down to 4. Okay, 7 plus 6 is 13. I get 16. So 13 to 16. That's it. Whoops, did not want to do that. So 7 plus 3 is 10. I get 19. So 10 to 19. And that's the end of Mr. Wolf. So that's that. Right, now we're rolling 2 dice to determine how many provisions that I get, I think. Yeah, meals worth of provisions. Okay, so 2 dice, and we get 6. Brilliant. Okay, I won't cheat there. So we get 6 provisions. That's good. Fantabulous. Okay, so now we're turning back to 376. Off we go. Later in the afternoon, you hear the distinctive sound of a wild boar trampling the undergrowth. The noise dies away and you think you are safe, but half a mile further on, the creature bursts out at you from some shrubs. Wild boar, skill 6, stamina 5. Since the elves of Afan Forest do not eat meat, this encounter cannot replenish your stock or provisions, but you may decide to take its tusks. If you win, turn to 326. Wild boar, 6, 5. Wild boar, 6 and 5. Okay, 6 plus 7 is 13. I get 17, so 13 to 17. It's down to 3. 6 plus 6 is 12. I get 16, so 12 to 16. It's down to 1. Okay, 6 plus 5 is 11. I get 14, so 11 to 14. Whoops. That's that. Okay, that's end of Mr. Wild Boar. Okay, so we're taking its tusks. So we have Wild Boar tusks. Wild Boar tusks. New line. Okay, we're now turning to 326. During the afternoon, there is no noticeable increase or decrease in the strange behavior of the forest animals, which you observed before. You reckon that you may have to change direction, but you postpone that decision until morning and decide to look first for a place to spend the night. While you are pondering these matters, you almost trip over a sapling which someone has bent down and fixed to the ground. As you walk past, will you leave the sapling? To your right, turn to 265, or to your left, turn to 197. Okay, so we're heading west. So our right is north, and we wanted to. Let me just see. Traps always to the north of saplings. Yeah. Yeah. So we're heading west. So. Yeah, so to the right of the sapling will be where the trap is, because to the right of west is north. So we want to leave the sapling. Yeah, so if we walk with the sapling to our left, that will be, that will be where the trap is, because it's north of the sapling. It's right of the trapling. It's right of the sapling. Sorry, not trapling. Sorry. So the trap is to the right of the sapling. Therefore, we don't want to walk so that so we don't want to walk so that the sapling is to our left. We want to walk so that the sapling is on our right, because that will be south of the sapling, if that makes sense. So we're turning to 265. It's a little bit confusing how it's worded, but that's how it is. Anyway, you find 2 possible places to spend the night. You could make a bed under some bracken in a little dell, turn to 131, or you could climb up a mighty oak and make yourself comfortable in the crook of one of its vast lower branches, turn to 198. Okay. we're going to make our bed in the little dell under some bracken. So we're going to turn to 131. The rustling of the bracken as small nighttime creatures negotiate its stems, sorry. It's difficult to read this, it's a bit blurry. I don't have my glasses on. The rustling of the bracken as small nighttime creatures negotiate its stems influences your dream. In your dream, the rustling sound becomes the wind as it rushes over a vast plain with its endless acres of dry grass. Yeah, they used an imperial measurement when they used kilometers before, even though an acre is a chain by a furlong, 22 yards by 220 yards, so 4,840 square yards, or 100, or 1 over 100, 1/640th of a square mile. There we go. Anyway, in your dream, the rustling sound becomes the wind as it rushes over a vast plain with its endless acres of dry grass. You see yourself walking through the grass, which comes up to your thighs. You do not know where you are going, but a growing feeling of doom convinces you that it is not towards good. All at once, you find yourself falling forwards. This happens in agonizingly slow motion, and you know that 2 sturdy stalks of grass will pierce your eyes and blind you to the light of this world. If your power score is 14 or more, turn to 49, otherwise turn to 20. Okay, our power is currently 16, so that's 14 or more, so therefore we're turning to 49. Yeah, they should have said hectares, which is 10,000 square meters, or 100 aires, an air being 100 square meters. Therefore, a centiaire is a square meter. Anyway, you know the virtue of staying with a dream, however strange or lethal it may appear. After all, it is happening in your mind, so you can come to little actual harm. Although the dream is frightening, you manage to stay asleep. When your eyes are pierced, it is true that you are blinded to that dream world, but instead your eyes are opened to another world, and the dream abruptly changes. Turn to 144. You are standing alone on the plain. You know, in your dream, that it has taken you years to get here. The plain stretches without features to the horizon in all directions. Will you wait to see what happens, turn to 341, or start walking, turn to 91? Okay, we're going to start walking and turn to 91, which is not prime, it is 7 times 13. I always think that number's prime, but it isn't. Anyway, well, I used to anyway. Since there are no features to make one direction more attractive than another, it takes a surprising amount of will to start walking. But no sooner have you made that effort of will than things change drastically. You are standing in a clear spot, the eye of the storm, while all around you rages the most terrible storm, as if the gods themselves were at war, or the sky were trying to separate from the earth. The storm seems to be pressing in towards you. Will you run for your life, turn to 45, or stay where you are, turn to 164? Okay, we're going to stay where we are and turn to 164. While you watch in amazement from the clear spot, the chaos of the storm subsides a bit and you begin to be able to make out certain distinct features. Arrayed from right to left in front of you are 3 types of storm. Lightning flashes on your half right, rain lashes down directly in front of you, and an immense hurricane is boiling up to your half left. Why do some people say hurricane? It's clearly hurricane. You spin around to find exactly the same arrangement. While you look on in awe, a feeling of great calm descends on you, but it is the calm of power waiting to be unleashed, not the calm of sloth. At the same time, you know, as if a voice had spoken inside you, that the eye of the storm is formed by wind, water, and fire in this way. Gain 2 power points and turn to 253. Okay, that puts us up to 18 power points. That's good. And we're turning to 253. You wake up. While you were dreaming, you had a feeling of certainty, invincibility, and knowledge. But when you are fully awake, that feeling is gone. Although you remember the details of the dream, you are uncertain what it means or what it could have to do with your quest. You judge from the night sky that dawn is still a couple of hours away. Will you go back to sleep, turn to 341, or resume your journey, turn to 172? Okay, we're going to go back to sleep and turn to 341. For a while nothing happens, then you see the most bizarre and unrealistic series of images. You are standing in the middle of a sort of ravine, whose sides are made out of, well, you suppose they are buildings of some sort, since many weirdly dressed humans are coming and going through the doors. But you cannot even begin to guess of what stone the buildings are made. They are filled with unnatural light as well, but the worst thing is that they tower to the sky and threaten to fall on everyone's heads. You shout to the strange people to run, but it soon becomes clear that they can neither see nor hear you. You can see, but cannot hear. Well, I'll start again. You can see, but cannot hear. You are surrounded by rush, but it all takes place in eerie silence. Then a new horror becomes apparent. The smooth path on which you are standing is suddenly filled by dozens of monsters. They are made out of metal and glass, it seems, and move at a terrifying speed. Each of them has at least one of the humans in it, who are obviously prisoners, and often have grim, tortured expressions on their faces. You wake up from this nightmare. You can bear no more of it. Is this some other world altogether, or is this to be the future of Titan? Is the Earth to be controlled by metal monsters with humans for slaves? And where were elves, dwarfs, and other races? You find tears springing to your eyes in fear for your race, but you know that no elf could live in such a place. For you know that no elf could live in such a place. But now you are awake. You must get on with your mission. Turn to 172. You have to decide about what direction to take. You know from your experiences yesterday that west is roughly the right direction, so you must choose between northwest, turn to 150, or southwest, turn to 83. Okay, we're going to go northwest and turn to 150. In the mid-morning of this further day of travel through Afan Forest, you enter a valley formed by sheer crags towering on either side. Now, the tops of the crags are wooded, but there are fewer trees on the floor of the valley. As soon as you enter it, you feel that this is a special spot, but special to whom and for what reason you do not know. Will you cast a finding spell to see what that tells you, turn to 95, or will you preserve your power and either continue through the valley, turn to 282, or retreat out of it and find another route northwest, turn to 383. Okay, we're going to preserve our power and continue through the valley and turn to 282. You pass on the left side of the valley a rock formation which juts out of the cliff like some vast buttress. As soon as you are past it, you can see that it is matched by another about 200 yards farther down. In the backwater, as it were. Is that further or farther? I don't know, it doesn't matter. In the backwater, as it were, of the valley, which lies between these twin buttresses, you find the answer to your questions about the nature of this place. Two majestic stags, whose many branched antlers indicate great age and authority, are standing, apparently on guard, in front of a vast pile of bones. You now realize that this is the legendary death ground of the deer of Afan Forest. It is said that no mortal may gaze upon it and live, but perhaps this is just an old wives' tale, for you certainly do not feel threatened. Will you nevertheless cross to the other side of the valley to give the stags a wide berth, turn to 283, or will you approach the death ground, turn to 101? Okay, we're going to approach the death ground and turn to 101. A heron flaps lazily from the pile of bones as you approach. Now that you are close, you see that the stags are not alive but are amazingly lifelike statues. But your surprise at this discovery is nothing compared with your astonishment when one of them speaks inside your mind. Now, the voice is slow, as if unused for a long time, and the words are rather old-fashioned. Advance, friend, be not surprised. Our Maker gave us the power of speech, yes, and of movement too, should the occasion require it. We know somewhat of your mission and applaud it. We may grant you one boon. What will you ask for? For what will you ask? Their company and protection, turn to 74. A gift, turn to 28. Information about how to defeat Istra, turn to 248. Information about the best route to Istra's pit, turn to 225. Oh, that's it. We're going to ask them for a gift and turn to 28. Now, the stags do not speak in response, but a strange force sparks and crackles between their two sets of antlers. Your sight is temporarily blinded by the brightness of the flashes. When you can see again, there is a single antler suspended in mid-air between the stags. You step forward and grasp the antler. Whatever force is holding it is released, for it comes easily into your hands. On inspection, it turns out to be hollow, like a horn, and you note particularly that it has 12 branches. Note this on your adventure sheet. Okay, so antler horn has 12 branches. Yeah. Antler horn with 12 branches. You blow a mighty blast which echoes around the canyon before tucking the antler horn safely in your backpack, silently thanking the majestic creatures and proceeding on your way up the valley. Add 1 luck point and turn to 383. Do we need a luck point? No, we don't. Good. So we're turning to 383. And you could see the picture there of the stags. So I don't need to go back. In the late afternoon, you start to climb a range of hills, which are just as thickly wooded as any other part of Affin Forest. Add 1 luck point for getting this far through the forest, which I don't need again. The rock of the hills is exposed in places. Boulders litter the ground, and you pass quite a few small caves. You realize that it would not take much searching to find one large enough in which to spend the night. Would you do this, turn to 181, or not, turn to 56? Yes, we will, and so we're turning to 181. And that's where we're going to stop. So I'm on paragraph 181, which is unread. And in the next video, we will decide what we're going to do. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you can join me for the next part. Thanks again, and goodbye.